Introduction. The power of walking alone in a world increasingly driven by constant connection, endless validation, and external affirmation. The idea of walking alone can feel isolating and frightening. We're conditioned to believe that we need support, approval, and companionship at all times to succeed or feel complete. But the Stoics, the ancient philosophers who mastered the art of living well, believed otherwise. They taught that self is not just a strength, it's a necessity to rise above the chaos of life. To be unshakable in the face of pain, failure, or abandonment, you must learn to rely solely on your own mind, your own values, and your own judgment. This isn't about rejecting people, it's about mastering yourself. That is the Stoic way of rising alone, calmly, firmly, and with purpose. Let's explore 5 powerful Stoic lessons that will teach you how to become self-reliant and unshakable. You are enough. Cultivate inner strength. At the core of Stoicism is a radical belief. You are already complete. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher king and Roman emperor, wrote in his Meditations, "Look within. Within is the fountain of good, and it will ever bubble up, if you will ever dig." This is the essence of Stoics. The Stoics believed that everything you need to live a good life is already inside your reason, your values, and your ability to choose your response to any situation. When you rely on external things, money, status, praise, relationships, set yourself up for suffering, because all these things are beyond your control. You may gain them for a while, but they can be taken away at any moment. The Stoic instead asks, what can I control? Your character, your thoughts, your actions, your interpretation of events. This is where your power lies. When you stop outsourcing your sense of worth to the world and begin to cultivate strength within, you become grounded. You're no longer desperate for others to lift you up because you've already done the inner work of standing tall by yourself. This doesn't mean you can't love others or enjoy friendships. It means your stability doesn't depend on them. It means your peace isn't at the mercy of anyone else's behavior. True confidence isn't loud or arrogant. It's quiet, firm, and self-contained. And that starts with knowing you are enough. Control what you can, let go of the rest. Epictetus, a former slave turned Stoic master, offered one of the most powerful mental frameworks in philosophy. Some things are up to us, and some things are not. That single idea, if fully understood and applied, will transform your life. Think about it. How much of your suffering comes from trying to control what is outside your reach? We stress over what people think of us. We fear being left behind. We obsess over outcomes. Will they like me? Will I win? Will I succeed? But all of those things are not in your control. What is in your control? Your effort, your mindset, your decisions, your reaction. The Stoic lives with a calm detachment from the uncontrollable, not because they don't care, but because they understand where their power ends. You cannot control whether people will stay or leave, but you can control how gracefully you let go. You cannot control whether the world will be fair, but you can control whether you act with integrity. You cannot control the chaos around you, but you can control the order within you. This ability to separate the controllable from the uncontrollable is the foundation of true emotional resilience. That it gives you clarity, it gives you peace, and it gives you the power to walk alone. Because you're no longer manipulated by the winds of chance. You stand firm because you know what's yours and what isn't. Embrace discomfort. Hardship builds the One of the most prominent Stoic philosophers once said, difficulties strengthen the mind, as labor does the body. In a culture that constantly seeks comfort, Stoicism teaches us to do the opposite. Lean into discomfort. Why? Because comfort doesn't build strength, discomfort does. The Stoic believes that hardship isn't something to be feared, it's something to be used. Pain becomes a teacher, loneliness becomes a mirror, failure becomes a forge. When you experience loss or betrayal or rejection, your first instinct might be to seek comfort from others, to be soothed, supported, saved. But the Stoic trains themselves to sit with pain, to understand it, to let it strengthen them. Imagine this. You're alone. Everything you relied on is gone. No one answers your calls. No one shows up. It's just you and the weight of reality. What do? The untrained mind collapses. But the Stoic mind, it rises. It says, this is my moment to grow. This is the resistance I need to build my inner fortress. Walking alone isn't glamorous. It's hard. It's cold. It's demanding. But it's also clarifying. In solitude, you meet the real you. In hardship, you find out who you are without the noise. You realize you don't need the world to hold you up. You can hold yourself. Detach from validation. Approval is a prison. Human beings crave approval. It's biological. But Stoicism reminds us that living for praise is just another form of slavery. Marcus Aurelius put it bluntly, "It never ceases to amaze me. We all love ourselves more than other people, but care more about their opinion than our own." Think about that you know your mind, you know your story, you know your values, yet you'll betray yourself just to get a nod from someone else. That's not power. That's weakness disguised as ambition. The Stoic path to self-reliance is to detach from the need to be liked, not because you want to be rude or antisocial, but because you no longer allow your self-worth to be decided by strangers. If you constantly seek validation from others, compliments, applause, you become their prisoner. They become your invisible masters. One critical comment can ruin your day. One cold glance can break your confidence. One rejection can shake your identity. The Stoic refuses to play that game. He asks only one question: am I living in accordance with my values? That's it. That's the measure of success. Not applause, not popularity, not external approval. If your conscience is clear, you have peace. If your actions are just, you have strength. That kind of person can walk alone, rise alone, and win. Alone, not because they're better than others, but because they've freed themselves from the need to be accepted. Live by principles, not by emotions, to be unshakable. You must be ruled by reason, not impulse. Emotion is fleeting, principle is eternal. Epictetus wrote, "Don't explain your philosophy, embody it." This is the Stoic challenge, to live deliberately, not reactively, to become a person of principle, a person who acts with purpose. No matter the situation. When you live by principle, your path is clear even when you're alone. You don't need others to tell you what's right. You already know. You don't need motivation from the outside. Your values push you forward. For example, if your principle is discipline, you'll show up even when you don't feel like it. If your principle is honor, you'll do what's right, even when no one is watching. If your principle is courage, you'll take the hard path even if it means walking alone. This is what gives you strength when others quit. This is what makes you rise when others fall. Principles anchor you in storms. They protect you from manipulation. They give you a compass in a world of chaos. When you live by principle, you stop reacting to every mood, every insult, every twist of fate. You move with clarity. You act with integrity. You don't need constant guidance or feedback. You are guided by your own inner law. This is how you become unshakable. Conclusion: the silent strength of the Stoic to walk alone is not a tragedy. It is a training. To rise alone is not lonely. It is powerful. The Stoic path isn't easy, but it is freeing. It teaches you to face life with dignity, courage, and clarity without needing anyone else to carry you. You become your own source of strength. You develop a fortress within that nothing can shake. Not betrayal, not failure, not loss. The world can abandon you, and you'll still rise, because you know who you are, you know what matters, and you know how to live. So, embrace the silence. Embrace the solitude. Embrace the walk. Let it make you wise. Let it make you strong. Let it make you whole. Because once you've mastered yourself, once you've learned to rise alone, you'll never be dependent again. You'll be free. Be Stoic.